So just like square roots, there's only a few perfect cubes. All the other cube roots are irrational. Okay? So the perfect cubes are below. The cube root of 1 is, as predicted, 1. The cube root of 8. So what times what is going to give us 8? It's going to be 2, right? Because 2 times 2 is 4. Then times 2 is 8. Okay? Cube root of 27 is 3. 64 is 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. So I would suggest you memorize these ones. And then these two would be just in case. So I would memorize first 5 or 6. And then the rest, again, would be just in case. So the steps to estimating cube roots are really close to estimating square roots. So let's get started on that. Okay, so the process is the same. We determine what perfect cubes and integers the numbers fall between. So what perfect cubes and integers the number falls between. Okay. Next, we determine what integer it's closest to. So determine what integer it is closer to. Is it above or below the halfway root? Okay. Determine if it is above or below the halfway root. Okay. Okay, so then we should be able to determine if it is above or below the 0.5 factor using the halfway root. So we use the halfway root to determine that. And then estimate to the best of your ability. So the process is the same for the cube roots as it is square roots. The only thing is that the roots are a little higher. All right, so let's look at the table. For example 1, the perfect cube root falls between. So the cube root of 7 falls between the cube root of 1 and the cube root of 8. It's really crucial that you write those 3's there, because otherwise we'll think that it's square roots. Okay. The cube root of 1 is 1. The cube root of 8 is 2. So our number is somewhere between 1 and 2. It's 6 away from 1. And from 8, it's 1 away. So it's closer to 8. So that means it's closer to 2 because 2 is the integer. And that means it's above the halfway root. And we know the halfway root is somewhere between 1 and 2. Since it's above 1.5. So that means we can cross out both of these that have a 2. And which one of these is above 1.5 is C. Okay? So I think that you should be good to fill these out. So I want you to fill out the next 3 for me. So fill out the next 3 and we'll check after you pause. Well, unpause. So pause the video, do the next 3, and then check when you're done. All right, so hopefully for the cube root of 16, you got 2.2 or B. Cube root of 100, it should have been between 4.6 and 4.9. 4.9 would have been more like the cube root of 120 or 123. because it would be really close to 125. 125 is still pretty far away from 100, so 4.6 is the better option there. And then cube root of 54 should be 3.7. All right, so if you didn't get those right, double check against my work. If you did, we're going to move on to the second page. So give me a sec. All right, so let's look at this. So we want to do the same thing we did the other day. We're going to do our number line, okay, and you're going to compare the two. I'm going to just show you a different way than we did last time. Okay, so just another way to look at it. But let's start off number one with the same fashion. So we're going to create our table, and we're going to have our numbers here. All right, so the cube root of 10 falls between the cube root of 8 and the cube root of 27, and that falls between 2 and 3, and it's closer to 2. So it's above, not above, it's below 2.5. So then it's not A, because we're looking at this, and this is above 2.5. Okay, so let's do the next one. Cube root of 8, cube root of 27, falls between 2 and 3. And this one's only 4 away from 27, so it's above 2.5. Okay. Let's just double check C. So again, cube root of 8, cube root of 27, between 2 and 3. This time it's closer to C, closer to 8, so this is also below 2.5. So the answer is then B. Okay. So we could do this another way, which is probably what I would do, is I would look at this number line. The cube, well, 5 cubed is 125, and 6 cubed is 216. So I know that my cube root has to be between 125 and 216. Okay, well, in this case, all 3 of them are. But this dot is in the middle. This is about 5.5. So I'm going to look and see, is 216 above or below that? 216 is above 2.5. Or 5.5, sorry. Because it's really, 209 is really close to 216. It's only 7 away. It's 7 away from that one, and 84 away from 125. 132 is definitely below 5.5 because it's only 7 away from 125, and it's 84 away from 216. So that's way on the other side. So this means that 170 is kind of our perfect number, right? Because it's only 45 away from 125, and then it's 46 away from 216. So it's right there in the middle. So we did similar work to what we did, but now we're just kind of working backwards. Okay, so for number 3, that's on you. You could do it either way. You could do it the way we did in number 1 or number 2, whatever works for you, okay? So pause the video and try number 3. So looking at this, I did it the way in the second one. So I figured out how far away 242 is from each number, and then did that for each one, and then figured out is it above, below, or closer to the middle. So our dot is below 6.5. So A is the only one that's below 6.5. Okay, so let's look at example 3. So we're going to fill out the table, and then we're going to put it on the number line. Okay, so again, there's one that has a negative sign here. The only difference is that it should be negatives there. So let's do that one together. So this should be the cube root of 1, the cube root of 8. And again, it's negative, so don't forget those negatives. So this should be 1 and 2. Again, there's that negative sign, so these should be negative. It's 3 away, and it's 4 away. So it's kind of in the middle, but it's a little closer to -1. So that means it's below the halfway root. And since it's pretty close, I'm going to go with, so since it's close, I'm going to go really in the middle, and I'm going to say -1.5. Because it's pretty close to being split down the middle of those two numbers. So then I'm going to go to -1.5 and put a B there. All right, so I want you to do A and C and then put them on the number line. All right, so hopefully you got somewhere around 2.6. If you said 2.5, that would be okay. And then for C, 4.8 or 4.9, somewhere right around there is good too. All right, so below is your homework, so get cracking on that.